We are here in Charlestown, West Virginia, at the largest cemetery in Charlestown, Edge Hill. Why? Well, let's walk in for a moment. I want to show you something. Remember, we're in West Virginia. Look at this. There's gravestone. You see that right there? North Carolina. South Carolina. Mississippi. Georgia. Oh, come on back here. Look at this. Florida. Texas. These stones, look at these stones. These are Confederate dead. Confederate dead from Antietam, After Lee departs from Sharpsburg and withdraws back to Virginia, his army scatters in the lower Shenandoah Valley between Charlestown and Martinsburg. These men were wounded men at Sharpsburg that Lee brought back with him, and they came here to Charlestown to be saved, not to die. They didn't make it. So these are men wounded in Maryland during the first invasion of the North. Come back home into the Confederacy. This is Virginia, of course, in 1862, not West Virginia. And they die here in this town. That's why most of these graves, we have a name. They are known. They're known. They're the lucky ones, not because they die, but because we actually know them from these grave markers. Most of the Confederates who were at Antietam that became casualties, those that died on the field, all of them are buried in one mass grave in Hagerstown, Maryland, at a place called Washington Cemetery, which is enclosed within Rose Hill Cemetery at the southern end of Hagerstown. All of those men clumped together, all of those bones thrown together in that mass grave, 100% of those men unknown. So if you're an ancestor of a Confederate who fought at Sharpsburg, you're fortunate that this ancestor is buried here in Charlestown and is not unknown. You know, after the war, there were many Union dead buried here in this county also, in Jefferson County. And of course, Jefferson County had gone from Virginia to West Virginia. And so, are there Union dead here in Edge Hill Cemetery as well? And the answer is no. Now, it may have been originally Union dead buried here. There were Union dead buried in Harper's Ferry at several cemeteries. And they were typically those that were sick, ill, during occupation of Jefferson County by the different sides. But the Union soldiers that died here in this county, whether that was from wound or from illness, would eventually be disinterred and moved to the National Cemetery. The National Cemetery, not at Antietam, but at Winchester, Virginia, because Winchester is the place where Shenandoah Valley Union soldiers are buried. And so, you know, Union and Confederate soldiers aren't buried together in national cemeteries. The national cemeteries after the war were reserved for the federal dead. But this is an unusual place to have these Confederates buried here from Sharpsburg, casualties of Sharpsburg. And there's a monument that you can see here behind me, which is a monument to these dead. And interesting enough, it's one of the very earliest monuments to Confederate dead in the United States. Right there. 1871. The war's only been over for 6 years. Jefferson County, West Virginia, Jefferson County, Virginia in 1859 that captures and tries and executes John Brown. Jefferson County, Virginia in 1861 when secession occurs, and this county was against secession. It was against secession until Fort Sumter. And then Jefferson County, Virginia, who would give so many men to the Confederate cause in the 2nd Virginia Infantry, Stonewall Brigade, 12th Virginia Cavalry, Laurel Brigade, Chew's Battery, Horse Artillery. They all came out of Jefferson County. All total, 10 different companies of Confederates would serve from this county. So yeah, we're in West Virginia, and we think of West Virginia as a Union state, as we should. West Virginia becomes the 35th state of the United States. That 35th star on our flag is for West Virginia, the North. But West Virginia was truly emblematic of the division of the Civil War, where so many people in what would become this state were indeed pro-Union and wanted nothing to do with secession and departure from the United States. And there were others in this state who, especially after Fort Sumter, decided, and they gave themselves to the new nation, the new cause. Very much West Virginia, a divided state, born during the Civil War to become part of the United States.